Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Radha Shama Sundarada Shama Sundarade Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Pararajik Acharya Asasarja Sri Srimad ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravisha Om Vishnu Pad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakahosh Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopana Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Gira Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Bhajamumanam Ki Jai Shri Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Shri Nilachal Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi Ki Jai Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. It was beautiful worship. Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Shamasuna Lalita Vishaka Ki Jai Shri Shri Gauri Tai Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Going back to home, back to Godhead Ki Jai. ISKCON Vrindavan Yatra Ki Jai. Brihad Madanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. International Food for Life Transcendental Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nittai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glory Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamatirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God and Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, who is the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naisiki. By regularly attending the Srimad Bhagavatam class and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, whose worship with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So before we continue our reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam, as I've been traveling through India, I arrived on 15th March, and I've been to so many cities, I'm sure I forgot some of them. ISKCON temples. However, I always start the class by asking a simple question, especially for the younger devotees, older devotees. No. Why do we chant Jaya Radha Madhava before we speak? Younger devotees especially. Why do we chant Jaya Radha Madhava before we speak? Because Srila Prabhupada did. This is my point. We chant Jaya Radha Madhava, we chant the Mangalacharana. Everything we do should be because Prabhupada did it. This is Srila Prabhupada's movement. And it's becoming more and more important for the younger devotees to really absorb that, because all of us older folks are leaving like anything. Just practically every day another Prabhupada disciple leaves this planet. So the day will come when it's all in your hands. And you have to carry it on exactly the way Prabhupada did it. There's a saying in English that good fences make good neighbors. In other words, don't allow your neighbors to encroach on your property. And in India, you know that just from birth. You buy one big of land, you immediately put a fence around it. Right? Otherwise, somebody will steal a little bit here, a little bit there. So it's the same thing with spiritual movements. Prabhupada created a unique spiritual movement called the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, known worldwide by the acronym ISKCON, ISKCON. But as I travel, I notice, and also online, a lot of people leave the K out. They write ISCON. Whenever you see that, upbraid them, chastise them. Even in an ISKCON temple, I saw in the elevator, ISCON. So I took my pen out and I put a K in there. Don't leave Krishna out of ISKCON. This was Prabhupada's point from the very beginning. It's not an international society for God consciousness. It's an international society for Krishna consciousness. So from the very beginning, Prabhupada set the guidelines of how he wanted his ISKCON to operate, and we have to follow that. Practically every day, somebody will come from another mission, another mat, another movement, and say, you know, why do you guys do this? Over here we do it like that. That's fine. They have a right to do it their way. We do it the Prabhupada way. Whatever Prabhupada did, that's what we did. We all know when Prabhupada was present, he wouldn't allow his god brothers to give class in his temples. And he himself asked the question. He said, why am I doing that? He said, because if they say one word different from what I've told you, you'll be confused. So we are part of the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. The trunk of that tree is Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and the tree has many branches. Now, if you look at any tree, no two branches are alike. They're attached to the same trunk, but no two branches are alike, and you can't make them alike. You can't move a few leaves from here to there just to make this balanced. You can't. So we have to do things the way Prabhupada wanted it. Yes, we are unique. We do some things differently from this person or that mat or that mission. Yes, we do it differently. We do it the Prabhupada way. So like I said, it's critical now at this junction that all of you young people absorb this point. Do things the Prabhupada way. Now, one of Prabhupada's ways is appearance. I was just discussing, Prabhupada set the standard for appearance in his movement, especially for those who live in the temple. You live outside, you're pretty much, it's a different story. But once Prabhupada was speaking with his disciples and he said, Lord Chaitanya has come to save you. And they didn't hear clearly. So Prabhupada picked up immediately. He said, yes, he's come to save you and to shave you. So I always ask, why is it that every single Prabhupada Murti in all of our temples, clean shaved head, clean shaved face? Prabhupada wanted that. That's his standard for devotees who are living in and representing ISKCON. You live outside again, you have a job, whatever. That's a different story. He himself, when he was a young man working, he had a mustache. That's a different story. But when you're living in ISKCON, representing ISKCON, please do what Prabhupada wanted. He said at least once a fortnight you should shave your head, what to speak of your face. And I also mentioned, I have, being with the BBT for now 50 years, I have access to thousands and thousands of pictures of Srila Prabhupada. Not one you see a little stubble or nothing. Prabhupada always clean shaven. That was the standard that he wanted for his ISKCON. So in everything, in appearance, in how he presented the philosophy, in the goals, everything, Prabhupada set the standard. This is his movement. So please carry on Prabhupada's movement the way he wanted it. Okay? Hare Krishna. So we're continuing our reading from the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is entitled, no, we're not in canto 1, we're in canto 11, right? I'm in the wrong, let's see. I was reading something else. Yes, canto 11. So canto 11 is entitled General History. This is chapter 1, the curse upon the Yadu dynasty. And text 17, yes. Please repeat. Tachutva te santrasta. Tachutva te ti santrasta. Vimuchya sahasodaram. Sambasya dadrishustasmin. Mushalang kalvayasmayam. Satchutva te santrasta Vimuchya sahasodaram Sambasya dadrishustasmin Mushalang kalvayasmayam Tachutva te santrasta Vimuchya sahasodaram Sambasya dadrishustasmin Mushalankal vayasmayam. Please chant. Tachutva te santasta vimucha sahasodaram tambasya dadishustasmin mushalang kalvayasmayam. Mushalang Kave. Vaishnavis. Ambasyadarishustasmin Mushalang Kalvayasmayam. No? Okay. Synonyms. Tat, that. Shrutva, having heard. Te, they. Atisantarstaha, extremely afraid. Vimucha, uncovering. Sahasa, hastily. Udaram, the belly. Sambasya, of Samba. Tadrushuhu, they saw. Tasmin, within it. Mushalam, a cloud. Kalu, indeed. Mayam, made of iron. So as has been pointed out, in this section of the Bhagavatam, we're hearing translations and commentary by Srila Prabhupada's disciples. So we don't point that out to denigrate or belittle in any way, but just for accuracy. Prabhupada translated from the first canto up until the 13th chapter of the 10th canto. From 1014 on is Prabhupada's disciples. So, their translation. Upon hearing the curse of the sages, the terrified boys quickly uncovered the belly of Samba, and indeed they observed that therein was an iron club. Please repeat. Upon hearing the curse of the sages, the terrified boys quickly uncovered the belly of Samba. And indeed, they observed that therein was an iron club. So Prabhupada's purport. Upon hearing the purport of Prabhupada's disciples. Upon hearing the words of the Vaishnavas, headed by Narada, the Yadu boys lifted the garment covering Samba's abdomen and saw the fruit of the offense they had committed against Vaishnavas by their deceit. An actual club was there to destroy their dynasty. This example shows that in a polluted society, the club of duplicity can never bring the peace found in the society of devotees. Rather, such duplicity smashes all the non-devotional activities and whimsical doctrines of the pseudo-devotees. The Yadu boys were wary about jeopardizing their advanced position, and indeed had been thinking that as long as they kept their trickery concealed, others would never be able to detect such sophisticated cheating. Nonetheless, they were unable to protect their family from the reaction of their grievous offense against the devotees of the Lord. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschatya Deshtarine Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unvilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Shapitang Jena Bhutale Swayarupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehang Sri Guru Sri Tapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishyavangscha Sri Rupam Sagadatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Pada and Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandho Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namosate, Tapta Kanchana Gorangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Haripriye, Vancha Kalpatubhya Shah Kripa Sindhume Evicha, Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, this incident that's being narrated brings up the question of faith. Do we have faith that everything that Krishna does is good? God is all good. Because in other religious traditions, sometimes they become confused that if God is all good, God is fair, God is just, how is it that sometimes bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people? It should just be the opposite. Good people should always have good things happening to them, bad people should always be chastised. But the Bhagavatam is full of such narrations of incidents that from a mundane, philosophical, logical perspective don't make sense. Like, why would Krishna send Jai and Vijay to the material world to become Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha and cause so much destruction? So much destruction. So many people they killed. Ravana and Kumbhakarna, so many people they killed. Why? Why not just stop it from the beginning? Why would Krishna just set up this scenario to destroy his dynasty? All these questions are there. It only begins to make sense when one is self-realized, or at least accepts the premise that the soul is eternal. That's why Krishna starts out his Bhagavad-Gita, Natvevaham jatanasam natam neme janadipa nachaiva namavisham sarve vayamatak param. Never was there a time that I did not exist, nor you, Arjuna, nor any of the persons on this battlefield, nor in the future will any of us cease to be. If we don't accept that very first statement of Krishna, then all of this doesn't make sense. It makes sense when you understand that all of these members of Krishna's dynasty did not actually die. They just changed their bodies, which is inevitable. It's inevitable. The change of body is going on before we appeared from the womb of the mother. Within the womb of the mother, the child's body is changing constantly. And quite often, the mother becomes disturbed by that change. The pea-like embryo gradually develops into a form that matches the mother's form. In other words, if the mother is human, then that embryo becomes human. If it's a dog, then the embryo becomes a little puppy. But gradually the limbs start to appear, and the child starts moving and kicking the mother in the belly, and the mother remembers. We don't remember. At least I don't remember. Maybe some of you are so advanced that you do remember while being in the womb of the mother. Parikshit did. That's why he was always looking for Krishna, because he remembered the incident of being saved by Krishna in the womb. But most of us, when we take birth, we don't remember what happened in the womb. But generally the mother remembers, because if she has more than one child, she knows this child was like that while in the womb, this other child was a little bit different. The foolish things that we did after birth up until 3, 4, 5 years, mother remembers, we don't remember. So not being able to remember things that we've done doesn't mean that we didn't do them. This is one of the foolish arguments of those who don't accept karma. They think if I can't remember things that I did in the past, my past life, then why am I being punished? Dr. Urquhart's question to Prabhupada at Scottish Churches College. Who is the witness? I don't remember. And where's the witness anyway, even if I don't remember? So this is all foolish argument. The law of karma is summarized very, very minutely, or very succinctly, I should say, in a nice verse from the 10th canto. It says, Eka prashuyase jantur eka esha paliyate, ekona bhungte sukritam eka esha chaduskritam. It says, everyone is born alone, dies alone, and alone has to enjoy or suffer the reactions to the good and bad deeds that they've done. Law of karma in a nutshell. We're always active. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, the soul cannot be inactive even for a moment. So we're always active, and all our activities produce some reaction, good or bad. And we have to enjoy or suffer the reactions. Now, this incident that we're hearing about is not one of karmic reaction. We should understand that the pure devotees of the Lord, as soon as we accept somebody as a pure devotee, there's no question of karma. Sometimes the devotees are confused even about our own Srila Prabhupada. How did Prabhupada get knocked down by a cow and so many things, heart attacks and stroke and all these things. These are not karmic reactions. Prabhupada even said about us. He said, once you take to this Krishna consciousness movement, Krishna takes charge of you. It's no more regular material karma that you're going through. Yes, we may externally suffer from this or that, but it's not regular karma. Just the opposite. Prabhupada said, if you were to suffer your regular karma, instead of getting your finger cut one day, you should have had your head cut off. But Krishna very mercifully reduced, just to remind us. So this incident with the members of the Yadu dynasty is not a karmic reaction. It's Krishna's arrangement. And again, once we've taken birth, we have to give up the body by some means or the other. By illness, by accident, just like recently our godbrother Charut died in a car accident. So somebody may wonder, if he was such a great soul, and he was, in my observation anyway, great soul, so many wonderful things he did to serve Prabhupada. So why would Krishna arrange for a person like that to die? So one devotee, I don't know if he gave a Shastric reference, but I accept what he said that. And in such circumstances, Krishna arranges that you don't feel it. You don't feel it. You don't feel that impact. You don't feel the pain. I have been praying to Krishna, let me just die in my sleep. I usually go to Mangal Arati, so if you don't see me at Mangal Arati a couple of days running, open the door and take the body out, burn it. But ultimately it's up to Krishna. If we have faith in Krishna, Krishna will make the right arrangement exactly for each and every one of us. None of us are born, just like the verse says, everybody's born alone and dies alone. Even if you die along with hundreds of other people, like that recent accident, airplane here in India, right? Some plane crash with about 300 plus people and one person survived. One person walked out of the crash. So it doesn't mean that all the rest of them died in exactly the same way. No, everybody died differently. Somebody probably had a heart attack just from the impact. Somebody else had their head knocked off or whatever. Everybody died differently. So the devotee, once we start making advancement in Krishna consciousness, we stop worrying about that. How am I going to leave this body? It's in Krishna's hands. Let me just concentrate on serving Krishna. And what is the ultimate goal of that service? Every day we chant, at least in New York, Bahu Janma Kori Adi Shravana Kirtan Tabutana Paya Krishna Pade Premadan. If one is invested with the 10 offenses and the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, then despite his endeavor to chant the holy names of many births, he will not get the ultimate goal of this chanting, which is Krishna Prema. One time in Atlanta, some of my godbrothers anyway, they know Naranta Prabhu. He was one of the big book distributors, so they had a meeting in Atlanta Temple. All the big distributors from around America, they came there and Prabhupada came. I think it was 75. I wasn't there, but. So Naranta, because he was a big gun, he got a chance to ask Prabhupada a question. And he asked Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? And he was thinking, because it's all book distributors and I'm a book distributor, Prabhupada could say book distribution, but Prabhupada didn't say that. Prabhupada waited a few moments and he said, when you learn to love Krishna, that pleases me the most. So this is the goal of our practice. Whatever we're doing, whether we're distributing books, worshiping the deities, producing the books, cooking, cleaning, whatever we're doing, it's all about reawakening our love for Krishna. So those of you who are fortunate enough, advanced enough to be able to stay in Vrindavan Dham all the time, there is no other business. Just concentrate on developing love for Krishna Balaram, Radhe Shyama Sundar, Shishi Gornitai. That's the only business. And we can test. We can test ourselves. How do we test? That last verse of the Shikshashkar, Ashli Shiva Paharitang Pinashima, Adarshana Marmaratam Kurotum, Yatatava Vidadan, Mat Prananatastu. You're my Lord no matter what happens. Whether my best friend dies in a car accident or I come down with cancer, whatever happens, you're my Lord. I'm not going to find any excuse to stop serving you. Because Maya's job is to give us excuses to stop serving Krishna, to go back out into the samsara, davanala, liloka. Well, we shouldn't allow ourselves to be diverted even for a moment. This is what pure devotion means. Not even for a moment could the pure devotees of the Lord stop serving. The example are the gopis. They couldn't stop thinking of Krishna for one moment. They always wanted to see Krishna, and they cursed Brahma for giving them eyelids so that nice verse in the 10th canto. Atiti yad bhavan anikanam chuta yugayate tamapashitam kutila kuntilam srimukam te jada udikshpitam pakshma kridrasham. Gopis are saying that Atiti yad bhavan anika. Every day we see you going out to the forest. Krishna Balaram, the cowherd boys, are taking the cows and calves to the forest. And then after a while, they don't see them. They disappear. And then what happens? Chuti yugayatam tamapashitam. For when we can't see you, even for a fraction of a moment, it becomes like a yuga. So you imagine they're waiting all day. That's like unlimited yugas. They're waiting to see. Then kutili kuntalam srimakamte. Then all of a sudden they see again the dust cloud rising. They know Krishna and Balaram are coming back. Finally they can see them, so much so they can see the curling locks of hair. And then jada udikshitam. The foolish creator, Brahma, has given us eyelids. So again, for a fraction of a second, we don't see him. So do we have that feeling towards Krishna Balaram? Or we just come, take darshan, and then the rest of the day we don't care that we don't see them? You have to have that feeling. I have to go see Krishna Balaram. I have to see Radhe Shyam Sundar. I have to see Gaur Nitai. When Prabhupada was in Radha Damodar temple, before he went to America, he pointed out that this mood of attachment, not just to seeing the deities, but serving the deities. He pointed out there was one Bengali widow who was living in the vicinity, and every morning, regardless of the season, how cold or how hot, she would take a jar and go down to Yamuna and bring water back for serving the deities. Or do we have that attitude, or do we go running to America when it gets too hot in Vrindavan? See, the real Brijbasis, they don't run away under any circumstance. I have to stay and serve. So we are indebted to Srila Prabhupada because we don't have to go running all over Vrindavan looking for Krishna. Krishna and Balaram are kindly standing here. And not just standing there, just as he said about Rukmini Dwarkadish, and one time Prabhupada said, you see this Rukmini Dwarkadish? Dwarkadish is waiting to speak to you, but do you want to speak to him? So Krishna Balaram, they're not just standing there looking beautiful. They want to talk to us, but do we want to talk to them? Practically the only conversation most people want to have with the deity is, give me this, give me that, give me that, give me that. No. We should come before the deity and pray for service. That's what we're praying for when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Oh Lord, oh energy Lord, please engage me in your service. So when that service comes, we shouldn't run away. When Panchagoda Prabhu says, now I want you to be part of 24-hour kirtan, you take this time slot, you don't come up with all kinds of excuses why you can't do it. You just dive in. Dive in, just like we used to dive into Halava when we first became devotees. I was attracted by the philosophy, but once I joined, I was definitely became a prasadam bhakta. In Henry Street Temple, they used to serve. If you go to these shops, at least in America, they have these big scoops that they use for serving, for selling bulk items. Yeah, so they would use one of those big scoops, and they would come around. We had the wax paper on the floor, and they would. One big scoop of olive. And we didn't care about sugar or this or that. It was prasadam. So we dove in and we ate to our heart's content. When we joined, we were told, Prabhupada said, you should eat to your heart's content. Eat till you waddle like a duck. And we took it seriously. So much so that in Henry Street in those days, 73, 74, because by 75 they shipped me out to Los Angeles, but the Sunday feast was so wonderful. Some of you may remember if you ever went to Henry Street's Harikesh was cooking, Agnidev was cooking, so many. Vishnu Gada was cooking. So we had always Sunday feast, 2 different kinds of rice, one plain rice, one fancy rice, at least 2 sabjis, one dry sabji, one wet sabji, samosa, pakora, and then sweet samosa. Halava was a given, that's always there. And then kheer, and there's so many sweets, laddu. So the Sunday feast was so wonderful. As brahmacharis, we would just eat and eat and eat. And then, after the feast, whatever the guests left on their plates, we would eat. Not the rice, or maybe not even the sabji, but half a sweet samosa. Yeah. So Gopi Paranadana Prabhu, Gopi Janaballabha Prabhu, who was the temple president at the time, he said, "Stop, don't do that." And we said, "No, Prabhupada said prasadam can't be contaminated." So we stopped him. He was stumped. So he wrote to Prabhupada. He said, "These brahmacharis, they're eating off the guest plates, what to do?" And Prabhupada wrote back. He said, "Tell them to stop." Because he knew we weren't doing it out of philosophical, just lust. Prabhupada said, "Tell them to stop." So Prabhupada has given us everything. We know in the beginning Prabhupada is personally cooking for his disciples, his followers at that time, 26 2nd Avenue. And he would keep cooking and feeding them. Eat, eat, eat. Come on, eat more. There's only one incident that I know of where Prabhupada stopped. There was one devotee, Strayadesh. I never met him personally, but maybe some of you know. While most devotees were satisfied with 4, 5, 6 chapatis, he would keep going. 7, 8, 9, 10. When he got to 10, Prabhupada said, "Stop. 10 chapatis is enough." So again, the whole mood of ISKCON is set by Prabhupada. Preaching means you're always going to have an influx of new devotees that need to be trained. So some of us have to take that responsibility for training the new devotees. Some have to take the administrative responsibility. Some have to take the financial responsibility. Every temple was supposed to have a treasurer, like that. So again, for the younger devotees, quite often people will approach you from other movements, missions, mats, whatever, and tell you, ISKCON, Prabhupada did a lot of good things, but look at ISKCON, so many problems. So my response is this: if a mission doesn't have any problems, it means they're not preaching. Because as long as you're preaching, you're going to have new people coming in, and they're going to make mistakes. And even those who've been around for a while are going to make mistakes. Just like recently in New York, we had 3 very nice brahmacharis. They not just a year or 2 or 3, they were like 8, 10-year brahmacharis. Serving nicely, deity worship, book distribution, harinam. But because of impatience, they became victimized by people from other spiritual, I don't want to name any names, but told them again, got in their head, Prabhupada gave you so much and all, but we can give you more. Come to us. Come and hear Rasa Shastra, and like that. Then they became victimized, they left. And I was just told recently that one of them, at least somebody saw recently, instead of his nice brahmachari outfit, shaved head, and now he's got a long beard and he's riding a motorcycle. Yeah, he's still sitting down and listening to Rasa. Yeah, well, you got a shaved head and you come to Mongol Artik every day. But why is that? Why do we become victimized by these personalities? Because we become impatient. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says, Utsahan Nishaya Dhairya. You have to be enthusiastic, you have to be determined, but you have to be patient. Everybody's progress is going to be different. And you may even sometimes make progress and then go backwards for a while. Because we have free will. In English, we have that saying, 1 step forward, 1 step backward, or even 10 steps forward, 1 step backward. Because we have free will eternally. We don't just get on a smooth trajectory all the time back to Godhead. Sometimes we make mistakes and we lose enthusiasm. And therefore the association is so important. You cannot do it alone. One time when I was in San Diego, around 94 I think it was, there was one nice new person came in and was zooming like a rocket, chanting 16 rounds almost immediately, moved into the temple. And then after a year, one day he came to me and he said, because I was befriending him, he said, Prabhu, I'm going to leave. I said, why? He said, I see too many problems here and I'm getting into the habit of criticizing the senior devotees, so I'm just going to go and practice on my own. So he disappeared. About a year later, I see him at the Sunday Peace. I said, hey, you're back. What happened? What happened was San Diego's in California. Right next door is Arizona. So he went to Arizona. He found a really secluded place in the mountains and cave. Practically he was living by himself. But every now and then he had to come down and go to the nearest town to get his provisions, his rice, his dal, whatever. So on one such trip, he met a very good-looking girl. And within no time, stopped chanting and broke all the principles. Then he realized, oh my God. So he came running back to the temple. So as Prabhupada said, individually we're like one stick. Anybody can break a stick, but when you put a bundle together, it can't be broken. So it's very important, stay in the association of devotees, follow everything that Prabhupada did, do things the Prabhupada way, don't be disturbed or distracted by people telling you. Like I said, no two branches on the tree are exactly alike. So if they're on one branch of the Chaitanya tree, they can do things their way. That's all right. We're not trying to change them. They shouldn't try to change us. We're on the Prabhupada branch. And on the Prabhupada branch, we do whatever Prabhupada did. Exactly. We chant Jai Radha Madhava before giving class because that's what Prabhupada did. We recite the Mangalacharana because Prabhupada did it that way. We recite the verse. I was just listening to a lecture from 72. Prabhupada said, why do I ask you to repeat the verse over and over before speaking? He said, because hearing it is purifying, just hearing that shloka. And also we know repetition is the mother of learning. So especially brahmacharis, big part of brahmachari life means study, study, study. Hear the scriptures, because if you move on, which most of you will, that's just the nature of things, and there's nothing wrong with it. In the beginning we were a little foolish, right? Remember Pancha going? If somebody left brahmacharya and became a household, oh, he fell down. Poor guy. Oh my God. Can we save him? No, it's a natural progression. Brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. It's a natural progression. And most devotees are going to go through that natural progression. But when you're in brahmachari life, you have to study, because when you move on to the next ashram, grihastha ashram, naturally you're not going to have as much time. Responsibility. Every ashram has to be executed responsibly. So the responsibility of the grihastha by Vedic culture is to maintain the other three ashrams. The grihastha is supposed to make sufficient income so they can maintain the brahmacharis, the vanaprasthas, and the sannyasis. Grihastha has to be charitably disposed. Prabhupada said a real grihastha means that any living entity in your house shouldn't starve, even a snake. If a snake moves in, you have to make sure that snake is fed. This is real grihastha mentality. And not that, okay, I accept, I should be charitable. When I become a crorepati, then I will give some. No. Whatever income you have to give some portion of that for Krishna conscious purpose, for taking care of the other ashrams. And the prime example is Kolabha Sridhar. Living in Bengal, selling banana leaf plates and bananas. Everybody in Bengal has a banana tree. So how much money are you going to make? So he was not making very much income, but still, what percentage was he using for worshiping Mother Ganga? 50%. Sometimes when the grihastha is here, 50%. You mean like whatever I make, I have to give 50%? You don't have to anything. That's just the example that Kolabha Sridhar said. And Rupa Goswami also, when he retired, 50% for Krishna conscious purposes, 25% for emergencies, and 25% for the family. Must be charitably disposed. Brahmacharis also be charitably disposed. But what is that charity? You give your time. You give your time and energy for executing the mission of the spiritual master. So it's very heartwarming when you come down Bhaktivedanta Marg and you see brahmacharis from the temple here, they're standing on the corners selling books. This is how Prabhupada's mission was built, by brahmacharis primarily going out all over the United States and other countries, in all kinds of weather, distributing Prabhupada's books, collecting Lakshmi, most of which was sent for building this temple, for building Mayapur, for building Bombay. So brahmachari life means you are charitable with your time. Grihastha life means you're charitable primarily with your income. Vanaprastha, at least in ISKCON, as currently constituted, means again, you give your time to share your experience with those who are coming up. And sannyas means all time. There's no other thing but Krishna consciousness. No other engagement, no making money, no whatever. All time has to be given to Krishna conscious activities. So here again, it can be a little bit baffling as to why Krishna has set up this scenario where the yadus are going to destroy themselves. But again, the soul never dies. And when we understand that, Krishna says about himself, Ajopi sanabhayanma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakriting swam adhisthaya sambhavami admamaya. Although I am unborn, and we are also unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, our physical bodies deteriorate, we can all tell you the litany of what's wrong. I know I can, what's going wrong with the body right now. But I'm not this body. So I try not to pay too much attention to it. It doesn't mean that we don't take care of the body, because ultimately the body belongs to Krishna. And just like if somebody, a friend lends you a car, it's your responsibility to take care of it nicely. I've seen where it doesn't happen like that. I was living in the Alachra community from 92 to 94. And Hansarupa Prabhu, he came to India. He was the temple president at the time. He came to India and he left. He had a Subaru station wagon. And he left it with one devotee. And I noticed this devotee was just driving, and not maintaining. I said, "Are you changing the oil?" He kind of brushed me off. And one day, not surprising to me, the engine seized up. He was driving and the engine just, if you don't change the oil, especially in an older vehicle, it's just like that. So similarly, this body is like a car Krishna's given us. We have to take care of it. So Prabhupada said once, first health, then sadhana, then seva. Because again, this body doesn't belong to us. We have to maintain it nicely. Not very difficult. We know there are 3 gates to unhealthy condition of the body. One is overeating. The other one, who knows the 3? First one is overeating, uncleanliness, and the third one is anxiety. So the first thing is don't overeat. Although Prabhupada did say once, there are 2 mistakes you can make in eating. One is you can eat too much, the other you can eat too little. So Prabhupada said for a young man, you can make the mistake of eating too much because you'll burn it off. And trust me, we did. When we were young, we ate a lot. For an old man, like I'm 73 going on 74, you should make the mistake of not eating enough if you're going to make a mistake. So when Prabhupada said that, it was in a class in Los Angeles. So one of the devotee sons, he was about 10, 12, he said, "What about Tamal?" Because Tamal Krishna Maharaj at the time, he was neither old nor young. He was in his 30s, like that. So he said, "What about Tamal?" So the answer to that is when you're in the middle, you should get it exactly right. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Get it exactly right. Young man, you can eat because you can come and jump up and down and run around serving all day. You'll burn it off. Old people like me, better to eat not enough. When you're in the middle, get it right. Because by then you should know your body exactly how much energy you burn every day and how much you need to replenish. Get it right. So again, this is kind of baffling, but if we understand Krishna, and Krishna himself says, we're not these bodies, and Krishna also says that only those who are foolish, who don't accept me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they become bewildered. Devotees are not bewildered because we know, first of all, achintya. We don't only accept what we can understand. So much of what Krishna does is beyond our understanding. But we have to accept anyway. And this is Krishna's position. He can do whatever he wants, any way he wants. That's his position. He's not bound by the laws of nature. He's not even bound by expectations. He can do whatever he wants. And therefore, Ashtashiva Padara, whatever you do, my Lord, I am going to serve you anyway. So yeah, this is the key to understanding, because after this incident, Krishna himself leaves. And that's even more baffling. He says he's God, so many great souls accept him as God. How could he be killed by a... No, he can't, he wasn't. Only a foolish person is going to think like that Krishna was killed by the arrow of a hunter made from one portion of this same iron club. No, Krishna cannot be killed. So devotees are not baffled by Krishna's departure from this planet. And after Krishna leaves, what do the devotees do? They take shelter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Sadama Bhagate Dharma Jnana Advisaha Kalo Nasa Jushamesha Puranarkadnavita. This Bhagavatam is the light in Kali Yuga for those people who are in the dense darkness of ignorance. And it's non-different from Krishna. Chanting the holy name is non-different from Krishna. Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. So the devotees always have shelter. Always have shelter. And they're not baffled because they hear and accept what the authorities say. They don't have to figure it out. So Krishna set up this scenario for the Yadus to leave. None of them actually died, they just changed bodies. And so we are not baffled. We understand Krishna's intention. And I think that's pretty much what I have to say this morning. If there are any questions. Yes, Panchagoda Prabhu.
It seems like everyone thinks that their intelligence is the correct understanding of reality the way it is. So we accept Prabhupada, but all these troubles with ISKCON, the poison issue and the Ritviks and the different, Gaudiya Math and also GBC and so many issues and problems with the women's initiation, no initiation and whatnot. So it's difficult to live in this society or this organization of ISKCON, but I like Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I like Prabhupada.
Okay.
I don't like anybody else.
Sounds like a reasonable proposition, but Prabhupada himself said, ISKCON is my body. No matter what happens, don't leave ISKCON. So if we're real Prabhupada Nugas, we take that to heart. Because where are you going to go again? People say, oh, ISKCON, there's so many problems. You show me any organization of any appreciable size, whether material or spiritual, that doesn't have any problems. If it's on the spiritual side, again, it means they're not preaching. They're just fooling themselves by sitting down somewhere and reading Rasa Shastra or Om Shanti Shanti. They're not doing anything. If you're doing something, there are always going to be problems, opposition and legal problems, and this devotees who come and stay for a while and then they leave and they make trouble. And we're in the material world. Trouble with a capital T is part of this material manifestation. But if we hold on to Prabhupada's lotus feet, if we read Prabhupada's books, we are not bewildered because everything is very clear. This is what attracted me by reading Prabhupada's books, because I'd read so many other books of isms and this and that, but Prabhupada's presentation is so clear. Even a materially contaminated person can start to see a light at the end of the tunnel of life if you just read Prabhupada's books. So yes, apparently there are so many problems. Because again, we're a preaching society, which means we always have a mixture of new people, neophytes, people who are madhyam in the middle, some are very advanced. There's always going to be misunderstandings, problems. But also look at the result. As I travel on this trip, like I said, I've been to so many temples I can't even remember. I landed in Mumbai, and then I went to Surat, then Baroda, then Ahmedabad, then flew to Navi Mumbai, went to Kargar, Thane, Bhiwandi, I went to Hyderabad, went to Chennai, went to Kolkata, went to Mayapur. I promote ISKCON tourism. Prabhupada created an international society with branches all over the world. You look in any address list in our books, every major city in the world practically has at least one ISKCON center. Some have many.
Did you find Vrindavan the best?
You're putting me on the spot. My first visit to Vrindavan was 76. But I also went to Mayapur, obviously. On that trip, I got my second initiation from Prabhupada in his quarters in the Lotus Building. So I've always said over the years that although I love Vrindavan, I feel more at home in Mayapur for some reason. But I think on this trip, my mind is being a little bit changed on that point.
We might not let you give class next time.
I just said, on this trip, my mind is being a little bit changed. And I think, because I didn't intend to come here. I really didn't intend. I said, I don't have time to go to Vrindavan this time. So I went to I went to Delhi, and I was going to leave from Delhi to go back to New York, but somewhere or other, Krishna Balaram arranged that here I am. So I think they're actively trying
I get
to...
a really short answer for a critical question, controversial question? We're taking shelter of Prabhupada's books, but some people feel there have been too many changes. Should we go back to the original or just stick with what we have?
You really want to go down there?
Just summary, nothing.
All right, it's a deep subject, but why was there editing of Prabhupada books in the first place? Prabhupada, a lot of devotees don't realize this, Prabhupada started the editing process himself. It's not that editing was imposed on him. When Prabhupada met one Howard Wheeler in New York, he asked him, "What do you do?" He said, "I'm an English professor." Prabhupada said, "Oh, can I give you something to edit?" Prabhupada started the English editing of his books. He started the Sanskrit editing department, the Bengali editing. Prabhupada started everything. Why did Prabhupada want his books edited? He already had the 3 volumes of the first canto. Why did he want editing? Because he said, "I want my books to be polished to a level where it will be appealing to English-speaking scholars." So the English language in Prabhupada's original Bhagavatam is not bad. Prabhupada was actually more proficient in English than many of us native English speakers. But it was more vernacular. It was not to the level you would say that an English professor in the West would find to be, appealing. So Prabhupada himself started the English editing process. And it continued as the books came out. Many of you know I was part of the 17 volumes in 2 months marathon. And during that marathon, a lot of mistakes were made. And when it was brought to Prabhupada's attention, he said, yes, the process is whatever mistakes you find in the next printing, you correct them. So the books were constantly being corrected and updated. Now, the biggest question is, after the departure of the author, should corrections continue? So there's arguments on both sides. However, the BBT, and I know it's still my prime service, gives you the original Macmillan Gita. It's available. We have it, and if you don't like the edited version, you can buy the Macmillan version from the BBT. However, there's another source where they're telling you, we're giving you the unchanged pre-78 books. They're not. They've made some changes. Maybe not as much as the edited version, second edition. I personally confronted them. I said, I look in your so-called unchanged pre-78 Bhagavad-Gita, and I see that cattle ranching has been changed to cow protection. In the verse, it says, Krishi Goraksha Vanijam, Vaishyakarma Sabhavajam. Originally in the Bhagavad Gita, it was presented as cattle ranching. But we know cattle ranching means you raise cattle for slaughter. The real meaning is cow protection. So in the second edition, you'll find it like that. And in the so-called unchanged pre-78 Gita that they're selling, they've made that change, and they made other changes. Another change is where it was peat tree was mentioned because the transcriber didn't hear properly. He wrote planet of the trees. They've changed that. So I asked them, I got in their face, and I said, how many changes have you made that you're not being honest about? You still tell people we're giving you the unchanged pre-78, but you've made some changes. So how many have you made? 5, 10, 50? How many changes have you made? Do I have to sit down and compare to find out how many changes you've made? At least be honest. Say that we were giving you the slightly changed pre-78 books because we think these changes were Prabhupada would approve of. That's okay, but be honest. But they are not. They approach especially young devotees and say, we're giving you the unchanged pre-78 books. They're not. They made some changes. So if one doesn't agree with the changes that have been made, updates, and I know again because I've been part of the production of Prabhupada's book going back to 1974. Mistakes were made in transcription. Persons couldn't hear Prabhupada clearly, and therefore what they typed was not accurate. I'll give you just a very minor example. On one morning walk, one devotee, because I got to go on one morning walk, so I understand this person. Prabhupada would always discuss philosophy while walking, and the devotees would want to hear what Prabhupada was saying. On the one walk I went on, I actually asked Prabhupada 2 questions. But anyway, so one person, he got so close that he stepped on Prabhupada's heel. And Prabhupada did the same thing. He kept walking, and the same person again stepped on. Prabhupada said, "Don't come near." Now the person who was transcribing the tape wrote, "Don't come here." Big difference. It's not that Prabhupada didn't want his devotees to come. He said, "Don't come." In other words, don't come so near that you step on my foot. But he wanted us close enough that we could have a conversation. On the one walk that I went on, because I had a reputation of asking good questions, the devotee said, "Ask Prabhupada a question." I didn't really want to. I didn't have any intention of asking. I just was happy to be on the morning walk with Prabhupada. Ask Prabhupada a question. So I asked Prabhupada, because I'm from a Christian background. In Christianity, they have the conception of immaculate conception, that the Virgin Mary gave birth to Jesus without touch of a man. So Prabhupada didn't answer right away. Then he said, "It's not possible for a woman to give birth without a man. So maybe it wasn't an ordinary man. Maybe it was God himself. But there has to be a man involved in the birth." So I was happy. I went a little further. "Come on, ask Prabhupada another question." What am I going to ask? I had no, because I don't know about you, but when I hear Prabhupada speak, I get more out of it than reading his books. I read his books, obviously, but hearing him speak, his tone of voice, the verses that he have, just whatever Prabhupada says, when I hear it, it has bigger impact on my consciousness than when I read. So hearing Prabhupada speak, everything was clear. But ask Prabhupada a question. So then I asked a really foolish question. I said, "Prabhupada, in the material world, we know we are souls within a body. I'm thinking that I am this body. But within my body, there are so many other living entities. So many worms, germs, they're also thinking they're that body." I said, "Is it like that in the spiritual world?" So Prabhupada said, "What did he say?" And somebody repeated the question. And Prabhupada said, "No." Obviously a foolish question. In the spiritual world, every entity is that entity. Every tree is an entity in itself. There's no other entity living inside the tree. As you may recall, one time when the devotees asked Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, you said that in the spiritual world everything is a person. It's personal." Prabhupada said, "Yes." So he said, "Is a sweet ball a person?" Prabhupada said, "Yes." So he said, "Then what happens when I eat a sweet ball?" So Prabhupada said, "You'll have to wait till you go there to find out."
If you don't, you can wrap that one question.
Yes. So the changes in the books. Again, the original Gita is there. Original Bhagavatams can be found. If you're more comfortable reading the Bhagavad-Gita, that's okay. But from my perspective and my insider, you could say, experience, the vast majority of those changes were warranted. It's not changing Prabhupada's presentation. Again, the editors went back to the original transcript that was typed, and somebody was hearing Prabhupada's dictation. You know the process. Prabhupada would dictate word for word meaning, he would dictate the translation, dictate his purport, and then somebody would hear that tape and type it out. So that manuscript was given to editors to edit and make corrections. So after Prabhupada left, there was found that there were a lot of things that could be updated to bring to the standard that Prabhupada wanted, of being a polished presentation. Again, some people say that you shouldn't change even one word after the author has left. So fine, so the original is still there. But those who were in the mood, that was their service. That was just like those who were distributing books and Prabhupada was here, they continued distributing books and Prabhupada left. So the editors felt, rightly or wrongly, that their service was to edit Prabhupada's books, to polish it to a high standard, so they continued to do that. And in my experience, I would say the vast majority of those changes, updates were warranted. It's not that they were trying to, get rid of Prabhupada's meaning or anything. They were trying to make it clearer, because a lot of mistakes were made in transcription, and a lot of mistakes were made in production. I know personally, my service during that marathon was programming a computer to drive the typesetting equipment. The typeset paper would come out in a long roll, and then it had to be cut up, pasted on flats to be photographed, and a negative was made to go to the printer. So sometimes in cutting up, a line was cut off. And you would read, and you would get to the next column, and something is missing here. So obviously those kind of errors had to be fixed. What people are upset about is that they became attached to a certain translation and then now has been changed. When Hayagriva edited the Bhagavad-Gita, he submitted Sri Bhagavan as the Blessed Lord said. So many devotees got attached to that, the Blessed Lord said. But Prabhupada himself, one occasion, I think it was in a class, he said, what is this Blessed Lord said? Sri Bhagavan means the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. And even in the book that has Blessed Lord, if you look in the synonyms, Sri Bhagavan, the synonym, the translation is Personality of Godhead. So how do you change Personality of Godhead in the synonyms to the Blessed Lord said? It was just his sentiment. Some say that he had read other versions of the Gita, the English, and that's what he found there. And he thought it was nice, Blessed Lord said. So anyway, thank you very much for your kind attention. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare